Talk about the Competition Commission's data findings is the organisation's chief economist, James Hodge. James, thanks for coming in. I want to start with what has been very controversial in the past, this comparison, drawing parallels between different countries and the prices. Are we unjustifiably being charged higher prices in this country by the mobile companies?
Well, certainly our finding is that the prices are high, and I think one of the better comparators often is to what these companies are charging in other countries, and certainly that today is substantially lower than here, and certainly for prepaid. And if you look at even profitability of these companies in those markets relative to here, we stand out, and so that says that certainly they're benefiting in this country relative to others.
One central message as well was that lower income consumers or users are more exploited than that of the wealthier consumers. How do we make that finding?
Well, it's quite easy. If you just go look at the tariffs that are advertised, whether it's a daily tariff, a weekly or a monthly tariff, and look at what a small bundle consumer pays per megabit compared to a larger bundle. So a lower income household or consumers might be buying 100 megabits for a month. They're going to pay 30 cents. On a Vodacom or MTN or even Telkom SLC. You're buying 1 gigabit, wealthier household, you're paying half that or a third of that on some of the networks. And that is the difference that is unexplainable. It can't be explained by costs on a digital network. And so we are calling on the mobile operators to address that.
And they have partly did that or done that during the commission. I mean, and today you're saying that there was a lack of transparency. The companies also misdirected the commission in certain instances. How did they do that?
Well, look, I think the lack of transparency, and this is a finding that we make as well.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone in this country knows what they actually paid per megabit for their last month. In fact, during the hearing, we asked one of the CEOs, what is your effective price per megabit? He didn't know. The reality is that headline or tariffs don't drop. They haven't dropped for years in South Africa. And instead, operators use promotions, free data, which does bring down the cost to the consumer, but it's not transparent. It's not transparent whether that expired before you used any of that midnight data and how much you're effectively paying. So we think that doesn't enable good price competition. And that's why one of the findings are to lock in those lower effective rates that they're charging already, and let's see proper price competition on headline tariffs.
And I see they've been given until June to make some responses to these findings. But essentially what happens here, because you have irate consumers, you have frustrated consumers out there that say, listen, we need these prices down. I did not tell you, I think the Commission also said, or the Economic Development Minister speaking in that package, speaking about the implications for economic growth. So where to from here, and whose court is the ball in at this moment?
So yes, we've given all stakeholders until mid-June to reply,
Yep.
And then we need to wrap this up fast because I think, as you point out, consumers are losing patience, and if there are some strong findings, then we need to move and act on them. We are, in the package of remedies, saying let's look at a range of commitments that maybe we can work together, because the package actually also looks to bring down operator costs in other ways, from spectrum and facilities access. So access to municipal infrastructure. So there's a range of packages that are beneficial. And some of the, I suppose, tariff adjustments we're asking the operators to do is just to bring it down to what they're earning in any event. But let's lock it into tariffs, and then let's have proper price competition.
And then one of the biggest arguments put forward by some of these mobile companies was that the issue of spectrum was a big deal. There's less spectrum, and that's one of the reasons why affordability is the way it is and why prices are so high. How did you handle that issue in terms of the finding?
Look, I think we can accept that spectrum does raise costs. We are behind in South Africa. And in terms of the findings, we've said that enough delays. There's a risk of further delays as departments are restructured. We go into election and we have a new act that may be amended. We want that to not interfere with spectrum assignment. So we are saying that the operators are right, they need to get that. But spectrum's not the only issue. And that's the whole point, is that it's a package of remedies. We can't just point at one thing and say that'll address all our concerns. It's not. What we're also asking the operators to do is to say, well, if you're saying that's raising your costs, then when we give you spectrum, you're obliged to drop prices and pass those those cost savings through. We can't rely on you necessarily to do that and have good faith in that. We want to see those commitments.